I wasn't allowed to compete in my first ever jiu-jitsu tournament till I was a green belt because my dad was like freaking out, like, your name, they're gonna try to rip your arm off. When I wrestled boys in middle school, like how would have guys that were in high school and dropped down to middle school division just to try to beat me up. I'm honestly used to it just because of my last name, and my dad's been really good preparing me for that like my whole life.
Everyone inside the small Houston arena held their breath. The second Bella Mir twisted Stephanie Calderon's arm behind her back. A hush fell over the crowd, cameras zoomed in, and then tap, tap, tap. The referee waved it off with 2 seconds left in the very first round. Up in the stands, a fan turned his phone toward the big screen where PFL superstar Dakota Ditcheva's live reaction was being shown. Dakota's eyes went wide, and her jaw actually dropped. She had been called the future of women's MMA for years, but what she saw looked like her own highlight reel playing on fast forward. One simple folk-style move, done with only one arm, and the fight was over. The clip spread across social media before Bella's gloves were even cut off. Dakota reposted it with a single line, "Hold up, did we just see Dakota 2.0? Instantly, the internet exploded with questions. Could Bella really follow the same path, or even rewrite it?
Dakota Ditcheva to the body again for a championship!
The shock on Dakota's face started a conversation that hasn't stopped since. All of this happened in under a minute, but its echo might last for years in women's fighting. Bella's breakout reminded everyone why a single moment can flip an athlete from prospect to headline. Before the fight, most casual viewers only knew Bella as Frank Mir's kid who wrestles, but from the opening bell, she looked like someone writing her own story. She circled calmly, ate a jab, then timed a level change that put Calderon flat on her back. While commentators listed her college wrestling stats, Bella trapped one of Calderon's arms the way she used to secure near falls in high school gyms. Instead of hunting for a slow positional win, she threaded her free hand between their chests, levered the wrist upward, and cranked. It was a chicken wing, a move every American middle school wrestler learns on day 3, but Bella's timing was pro level. Calderon tried punching with her free arm, realized she was stuck, and finally tapped. The tap came at 3 minutes 58 seconds. The crowd roared, and Bella leapt to her feet with a grin that said, "Told you."
He was actually talking to me like, hey, like, are you gonna go to college for wrestling? And I was like, I don't know.
Why didn't you know?
I was already fighting and like I was already like getting going with
There was
that.
already a path to it.
Yeah, so I was already getting going in that career, like making money, and so it's just like, am I really gonna want to go to college, stop making money?
In one flawless sequence, she showed wrestling control, jiu-jitsu finishing, and icy composure that many veterans never master. Even better, she did it while barely breaking a sweat. Moments after the replay hit the arena screens, the whole internet lit up like a fireworks show. Big MMA accounts on X, Instagram, and TikTok clipped Bella's chicken wing from 3 different angles and tossed it into the algorithm. Within an hour, Number Miracle Mir was trending in 3 countries. Fans who had never watched the Fury FC stream suddenly debated grip breaks and shoulder torque. The loudest chatter centered on one question: was this the birth of Dakota 2.0? People compared slow-motion gifs of Bella's finish to Dakota Ditcheva's famous Muay Thai knees, arguing over whose move was harder to pull off. Podcast hosts booked emergency live shows, coaches weighed in on mechanics, even retired fighters posted the wide-eyed emoji.
Who do you see? Who do you watch and say, I'm better than them?
I mean, I could have the title if I went there.
Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, I think I could.
That is confidence.
They say to me, you know, she's running through all these girls because they're not very good. But if you put these girls against other people, they have close fights. Whereas when you put them with me, I finish them early, so I make it lucky.
Dakota herself jumped on a Spaces chat and admitted she rewound the video 5 times because she couldn't believe how clean the leverage looked. That honest praise only poured more gas on the storyline. By dawn, casual viewers who had missed the event woke up to highlight threads explaining folk-style wrestling in simple diagram. In roughly 12 hours, Bella went from promising grappler to viral talking point, and Dakota's surprised face became the thumbnail everyone clicked. Comparing Bella to Dakota isn't just hype, the parallels line up like dominoes. Both women are young, undefeated, and comfortable finishing fights before the judges get paid. They also fight at flyweight, a division hungry for fresh stars. But Bella brings extra tools that make the 2.0 tag feel reasonable, maybe even conservative. First, her last name is Mir. That name has opened doors ever since Frank Mir broke Tim Sylvia's arm on pay-per-view.
Definitely thinking about going to Mexico for Pan Ams, and then definitely want to go to US Open, trying to get to that final X spot. Hopefully me and Mace have a little rematch.
Doors matter. Sponsors call sooner, media listens longer, and matchmakers return messages faster. Second, Bella's grappling base is years ahead of where Dakota's wrestling was at the same age. While Dakota grew up striking on the mats of her mother's Muay Thai gym, Bella grew up on wrestling mats, winning state tournaments before she could drive. Third, Bella's camp is moving at a deliberate pace, adding one skill set at a time, instead of sprinting into title fights. Fans love speed, but careers are marathon. Taken together, these edges suggest Bella isn't just copying Dakota's route, she might be paving a sturdier road beside it, one brick at a time. The similarities still keep people talking. What truly sets Bella apart is her crazy schedule. Most fighters wrestle with one combat sport and still feel exhausted, but Bella juggles three like she's spinning plates at a carnival. In the winter, she pulls on headgear to chase an NCAA wrestling title at North Central College, where she made the national finals at 145 pounds. When spring arrives, she trades the singlet for a blue belt and wins jiu-jitsu worlds, choking out opponents twice a day in humid convention centers. Summer and fall belong to MMA, where the smaller gloves and bright lights wait. Training calendars taped to her bedroom wall look like patchwork quilts of different colored blocks. Orange for wrestling trips, green for BJJ camps, red for fight weeks. She keeps a notebook listing homework on one side and daily weight cuts on the other. Her friends tease that she doesn't know the meaning of vacation, but Bella shrugs and says the Olympics are worth it. She's circling 2,028-inch bold marker, aiming to walk into Los Angeles with the US wrestling team, then flip a switch and become a full-time cage wrecking ball. For glory, obviously.
Do we have to wait around until then before you get in the UFC or Contender Series or something like that? Or what's the timeline in your mind of the perfect entrance to the top tier?
Well, that's a good question. Honestly, if it was up to me, I probably would be doing all of it at the same time, like what I am right now.
Most young fighters dream about catching Dana White's eyes someday. Bella already texts him questions about training volume. That special access comes from her status as the UFC's very first NIL athlete, a program that lets college stars earn sponsorship money without leaving school. While teammates worry about meal plans, Bella's contract gives her dietitians, recovery tools, and a direct pipeline to the biggest promotion on earth. Dana likes success stories attached to famous names, and he sees one forming in real time. He has told interviewers that Bella could have signed paperwork the moment she turned 18, but her camp hit the brakes on purpose. Instead of rushing, they stack experience the way gamers stack XP before fighting the final boss. The plan is simple: win fights, stay healthy, keep grades up, and roll into the UFC either undefeated or holding an Olympic medal. That timeline sounds slow to impatient fans, yet every month of polish now could add years of prime later. In other words, Bella's front row ticket to the UFC isn't a shortcut, it's a safety rail to keep her from tripping when the lights get blinding. If there's one thing fight promoters love, it's a storyline that writes itself, and Bella's life is basically a library.
I also feel like I see what, honestly, like if I had to be like super realistic, I feel like I'll have like a couple prelim fights for the UFC, and then once 2028 comes around, then I'll be like, okay, like, is it okay if I don't fight just this year?
The most talked about chapter involves Maya Lesnar, daughter of Brock Lesnar, the gigantic wrestler who once knocked Bella's dad out but also got tapped by him. Dakota Ditcheva may be the comparison today, but a future Mir versus Lesnar, next generation poster would melt the internet. Imagine the split screen, two legendary dads in the front row, two second-generation daughters trading takedowns in the cage, 20 years of family history colliding under the lights. Outside of that dream matchup, Bella also carries the weight of being the UFC's first college-age signee, the Olympics chase, and the question of whether juggling three sports can really work. Every interview gives media outlets a new angle: legacy, revenge, women's sports growth, NIL, or sibling rivalries. Each angle draws a different audience, meaning Bella's fan base grows in overlapping circles, like ripples on a lake after skipping a stone. Promoters can't buy that kind of built-in drama. It shows up gift-wrapped, ready to sell tickets. And yes, every ripple means more eyeballs and bigger paychecks ahead. For all the excitement, coaches whisper about the ticking clocks that hide behind big dreams. First is Bella's injury history. Wrestling seasons are brutal. Shoulders pop and knees grind. At Iowa, she missed meets because of a torn ligament, and even now her trainers ice her elbows after almost every grappling session. Second is the skill jump ahead. Going from regional pro cards to UFC pay-per-views is like jumping from a high school talent show to the Super Bowl. One wrong matchup can derail momentum faster than a slipped chain on a bike. Third is the mental load, carrying the Mir name, balancing homework between weight cuts, and reading constant comparisons to Dakota could drown anyone in stress. Sports psychologists say pressure either crushes coal or forges diamonds. So far, Bella sparkles, but diamonds still crack if struck just right. Her team has built rest weeks into her calendar and hired specialists for recovery, yet accidents ignore schedule. The next 3 years will test whether careful planning can truly outrun random chance in a sport where 8-ounce gloves and one twist of the ankle decide fates. Everyone hopes the plan holds.
And that's funny you say that about Maya Lesnar. The amount of people that have asked me if I want to fight her and do the Brock Lesnar Frank Mir trilogy, but in daughter form. I'm like, man, if Dana ever, I know Dana would 100% promote that if Maya was fighting.
While Bella's stock rises, Dakota Ditcheva is already cashing in her shares. She just flew home from Cape Town with a 15-0 record and a swollen left hand that doctors think might be fractured. Even with one hurting fist, she toyed with Sumiko Inaba for 3 rounds, landing knees, elbows, and body kicks so clean, the judges nearly pitched a shutout. Dakota's highlights play like action movie montages, tie clinch devastation, head kick KOs, and a confidence that borders on daring the universe to stop her. Fans call her the queen of PFL, especially now that Kayla Harrison has moved to the UFC. Dakota plans to headline stadium shows, bring Pep Guardiola into walkouts, and maybe retire undefeated at 30-0. She's not just a fighter, she's a blueprint for how to turn skills into stardom without ever stepping into the UFC's octagon. So when she saw Bella's chicken wing, her shock came from a place of earned swagger. It was the rare sight of someone who might speak her same language of perfect execution and spotless records. Seeing that, even through a screen, gave Dakota a chill she hadn't felt in years. Dakota's off-screen moves are as clever as her in-cage footwork. Instead of jumping to the UFC the minute fans begged, she sat down with PFL lawyers and stitched a contract that sounds like something from a video game quest log. Guaranteed activity, flexible weight options, and the freedom to accept cross-promotion fights if both sides agree. Few fighters ever negotiate number of fights clauses, but Dakota insisted after spending 8 long months waiting for worthy opponent. Now PFL has to book her on a schedule where they breach the deal. This security lets her heal, plan camps, and avoid rust, all while keeping leverage if she wants to test free agency later. The strategy shocked people who thought only the UFC could satisfy top talent. Dakota basically told the sport, "I'll stay loyal if you keep me busy and pay me fairly," and she got the paperwork to prove it. It's chess, not checkers, and younger fighters like Bella are watching closely, learning that star power isn't just built with punches, but with pens. More important, she showed you can control your destiny without hiding behind any single promoter's banner, forever, maybe. So where does all this leave us? On one side stands Bella Mir, a 22-year-old phenom splitting her time between college classes, folk-style tournaments, BJJ mats, and small show cages. On the other stands Dakota Ditcheva, a polished striker who just bent a whole promotion to her will with a clever pen stroke. The question people keep asking is Dakota 2.0 here now? Might be too small. Maybe we're witnessing 2 separate revolutions at once. Bella could become the youngest Olympian turned UFC champion ever, rewriting what a development path looks like. Dakota might blaze a trail where superstars build empires without ever fighting under the UFC banner, forcing big promotions to cooperate or risk losing out. Each fighter pushes the other simply by existing. Every Bella win pressures Dakota to stay perfect. Every Dakota headline motivates Bella to sharpen her striking. The real winners are fans, who get to watch a chess match of careers play out in real time. Whether the paths cross in a cage or just on social media, the shockwave from that first chicken wing has already changed the map, and the next round hasn't even started yet for anyone.